Welcome to the second episode of Meet the Author. And today I am so lucky to have Remlee Peck with me. She has been such a joy in my life for the last 3 years, and I am so honored that I got to be a co-author with her with We Choose Joy. It's all over the place. She's going to pull it up. I'm going to show it, all the things. But what makes her story so unique is that she was one of 3 people in this book that actually were a part of 20 Lives Ignited, the first of a 2-part anthology series curated by Linda, who you got to meet in episode 1. And so we just get to know her a little bit more. And so I would love to hand it over to her and let her share what she does first and foremost outside of being an author of 2 books right now. And so I'm just going to pass it over to you, Remlee.
Well, first of all, I'd love to say thank you so much for this opportunity, Rachelle. What a gift you are to me in my life. And it is a pleasure as well knowing you for all these years. And what a joy it is to be able to be in this podcast, in this gathering with you as far as meeting the author. So let me back up. I am a recovering educator. I had spent 40 plus years in the educational field, among other things. So I wore many hats while I was doing that. My last position was as an elementary school guidance counselor. And then opportunity presented itself that I needed to just leave there and go on my own. So I call myself reinventing and recreating myself. And now I am work as a life coach. And I with kids and families. I also do crafts with kids and families to bring everybody together. And I am a master gardener. So I do activities related to gardening and earthing. So it's a lot of mind, body, wellness things. And folks don't have to be little to be with me. They can be big just like us too. So it doesn't matter what age. And I love what I do, and I love being with people. And I love being able to share my story with you today. So thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much. Well, what inspired you first and foremost with 20 Lives Ignited, first of all, and then saying yes a second time? Can you share with us a little bit about your journey with both books?
Oh, absolutely. When Linda first approached everybody, she sent out a general post on Facebook because I'm part of one of the professional organizations that Linda Staszewski is part of. And when she mentioned she's going to start an anthology book, who would be interested? And I'm like, I think me, but I'm not sure. I always wanted to write a book, and I felt that, wait a minute, this is an opportunity. It's just a chapter. It's just a chapter. How hard can that be? So I said yes. I said yes to the first book, 20 Lives Ignited. And hopping back into the second book, yes, 20 Lives Ignited. Hopping back into the second book was a no-brainer for me. Choose joy. Absolutely. So it was an opportunity for me to share my story, and we're all unique in our journey and the path that we walk. So it was an opportunity for me to go forth twice, especially with Linda, and who I love dearly. She's an amazing person. So that's why I chose to be an author 2 times, because as far as instead of dreaming big, I just continue to dream bigger. So that's what I'm continuing to do. Yeah. So you never know if there's going to be a third, but we'll talk about that in a little bit, I think.
Yeah. So what would you like to share with everyone first and foremost about the 20 Lives Ignited book? Were there any takeaways? Do you care to share any part of your story that you wrote in here? Kind of like, what could you highlight it for us, if you will?
Absolutely. Rachelle, the title for 20 Lives Ignited is Women Over the Age of 60 Continuing to Create Success in Their Lives. So I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to create my story? So I took my life And I started my life at age 60. So I created a timeline from age 60 to where I am at last year in 2022. Well, 2 years ago now, 2023. So I just did a timeline when I was 60, what happened in my life, all the way up to the age that I was when the book came out. And the title of my chapter is called Stay the Course. Stay the Course. And it is a journey of my life for 12 years, from 60 to 72. And I learned a lot of things in that section of time prior to that from my grandmother. So Stay the Course is dedicated to my grandmother. And she would always say, Rem, stay the course, stay strong, carry on no matter what, because it's all going to work out. So it's all changing your thought. And that's why my quote was from Louise Hay, as I change my thoughts, the world around me changes. So in book 1, 20 Lives Ignited, I took each part of my journey in my life, the aha moments, or the ones that turned my life around or stopped me as a right turn or a left turn or a U-turn or a complete stop or a dead end. And I took that, and one of the chapters in that particular book, 20 Lives Ignited, and I took that one chapter and I created the book, my chapter in We Choose Joy. And that chapter in We Choose Joy is from one of the sections from 20 Lives Ignited. And that's what I did. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, too, Rachelle, this chapter, in my first chapter, was a little rough going because I wasn't sure what I was going to say. And I had a little bit of a hard time writing it because I'm thinking, well, what really happened in my life? Not a whole lot. I didn't get this happen or that didn't happen. Something big didn't happen here. Something big didn't happen there. But I thought, no, wait a minute. It's my story. It doesn't have to match up or be equal to anybody else. And so at the end of my chapter called Stay the Course in the first book, I had 5 bullets that I wrote, 5 different things, and I wanted to share them with you right now. And they are the things in life to remember. Where you are headed is far more important than what you left behind. And your past doesn't determine your future, you do. It's all about staying positive in your thoughts and do your best to stay strong and carry on no matter what. And lastly, keep moving forward. Don't look back. There's a reason the rear view mirror is smaller than the windshield. That has been my journey through all that life. You can't look behind you because it's gone and done. You have an opportunity to change from where you are, and it's a choice. So I was honored too, because we have a mayor in the city of Erie, and he presented at our book launch for 20 Lives Ignited, and he chose one of the chapters in the book, and he actually chose my chapter. And I was
Aww.
honored because he read those 5 statements that I just shared with you. And I didn't realize that he was reading my part because he didn't say the name of the person that he was honoring until he was finished. And then I heard about the rear view mirror, and I'm like, oh, that's me. Yay. So I quick got out my phone to try to record it, but I didn't quite make it. But, you know, it's still the opportunity to be able to be, I didn't need a pat on the back. I didn't need to be recognized. But for him to speak those words and for the ears to hear and the eyes to see, whoever needed to hear that heard that day. And whoever wants to read this book to make a difference in their lives will read the book. And I'm honored and blessed to be in the 20 Lives Ignited book. So yeah,
Love that.
that's on that.
So special. So how did writing your chapter for We Choose Joy go after you had already stepped forward with the other book? Was it easier? Was it harder? What were your feelings about it?
Thank you. I wasn't sure which part, the subsection of 20 Lives Ignited to pick. So I picked a particular part in 20 Lives Ignited that changed my life. And in We Choose Joy, the part that I picked in We Choose Joy, and the name of my chapter was A Complete Stop. And my life took a complete stop one night when I fell in the driveway and knocked myself out. And I wasn't found for a couple of hours. And because I couldn't get up, I couldn't stand, I couldn't do anything. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to be doing? This was an opportunity for me to begin to really reevaluate and recreate and redirect myself. So that's why I picked that chapter on A Complete Stop from 20 Lives Ignited and wrote about it in We Choose Joy, because I had to choose joy. I had to make a difference in my life because it gave me an opportunity to practice what I was speaking about. And it is a choice. So the events that happened after I fell and the journey that I took and went on to be the person that I am today, I wrote about in this book, We Choose Joy. And it changed my life. I became a different person because of the different things that I learned. I was a captive audience in my home. I was in a wheelchair for 90 days
Wow.
in my home. I chose to not have surgery. I chose to be non-weight bearing for 90 days. 90 days, that was June, July, and August, 3 months of the summer. But it changed my life. And I want to just say thank you for the opportunity where it could have been worse, it could have been better, but it was perfect just the way it was. And I chose joy then, and I continue to choose joy now. So that's why I picked that particular chapter, because it changed my life. And the quote that I picked for this book, We Choose Joy, I'm a follower of America's Got Talent. And a lot of people don't really much care for Simon Cowell. He's one of the judges in America's Got Talent. But a couple years ago, there was a young lady, and her name was Jane Marskowitz. And she introduced herself as Nightbird. And she came on, and she was a tiny little thing, no bigger than a minute. And in questioning her, they found out that she had terminal cancer. And I was just mesmerized by this girl. You know how you find somebody that you meet and they connect and resonate with you? Well, she did. She resonated with me. So I was on the edge of my seat watching her perform that particular talent that she had. And it was a song. And the name of the song was It's Okay. It's okay. It's okay. And she ended up being Simon Cowell's golden buzzer, where the gold flakes come down. And so she was going to go right to the finale. And unfortunately and sadly, she didn't make it. The cancer got her. But now it's coming back with all of these quotes that she would say throughout her life, because she struggled with it. And the quote that I picked for We Choose Joy is this: you can't wait until life isn't hard anymore before you decide to be happy. And that is so true. And I have lived my life like that ever since, really, truly, since I really fell. And that was back in 2019. And that's why I chose that quote particularly, because of that. You can't wait. You've got to choose. It's a choice. And I'm choosing joy. Oh, there's ups and downs. Nobody's perfect yet. I'm working on it though. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. But I love I love her. And if anybody else wants to follow her, she's Nightbird. And so we choose joy, and I do. So that's there.
Thank you. What advice would you give to someone who has been wanting to write a book or be a part of an anthology or whatever, but they just haven't done it yet? What advice would you give them?
If you have a love for writing, if you have a love for sharing, if you have a love, just a love of your own story that you feel nobody is hearing you, it might be an opportunity for you to put it into words. Because when you're writing, it's like wearing a Halloween costume. You could be anybody that you want to be. You can do anything that you want to do, unless you choose how you want to be and be truthful and honest. If you are going to write an anthology book, which you would be doing, so it's an opportunity for you to just get out there and be yourself and put pen to paper. And nobody said it's easy, because there's days you've got that writer's block and you go, oh, I can't write one more word. Where am I going to go with this? And all of a sudden it comes to you. So what I did with my way of doing it, I just did a timeline. You could do a timeline, you could create a Venn diagram, you could do, just when you're thinking of things, putting thoughts down. I had a tablet starting on my table, and anytime I thought of something, I would write it down on my tablet. So it was all right there. So the work was done. And if you're not ready to write a book, start with a chapter and you just begin with the end in mind. Like Stephen Covey, what do you want to say? What message do you have? Your message is as important as you are. So don't underqualify yourself, because you are a valuable person and you have a lot to say no matter what.
Amen to all that. I totally agree with all of that. Well, with that, are you considering writing your own book or being a part of another anthology if it presented itself?
Yes, yes, and yes.
I love that. I love that.
I say yes to life, and life says yes to me, and all its victory. I can't lose. I am going to be successful no matter what, even if it's a little bit. It doesn't matter how grandiose it is. What matters is how you feel about it. So, in answer to your question, if Linda would like to do another anthology book, I'd be in. I was thinking about not maybe doing an anthology book, but writing a children's book, because that's my love.
Aw.
Actually, I've already got it started. I've already got a title. I've begun with the end in mind. It's going to be a series. It's just sitting down and finding the time to do it.
I love that. Well, I know you'll make the time to do it because I know where your heart is, and I'm so excited. And children's literacy is my favorite. I took a class in college on it, and I just fell in love with it and started collecting books before I even had my own children. So, oh, that's so exciting. Well, see, now you've put it out into the universe, and we're all gonna wait for it. So, all right, last question. And anything else that you might want to add? What would you like for people to take away specifically? I mean, you've touched on it so many times, but if there's anything else that you haven't shared with us, kind of your legacy, if you will, from these two books, because I feel like, this is just another legacy step of, how people get to know you and remember you and all the things. So if there's anything else you'd like to share, what would you like people to take away most? If you haven't already shared it, if you have, because you've shared such beautiful takeaways. So, but is there anything else kind of tugging at your heartstrings?
I think I was, while you were asking me questions, all of these thoughts were going through my mind. And I did, when I was in the education, I had a bulletin board on my wall, and you might have heard it before, but if you haven't, it's really important to remember this, to be yourself, because everybody else is taken. Be yourself. Everybody else is taken. Love thyself first. When you love thyself first, then the love pours out from you to everybody and everything and everyone.
That is
So
the most amazing way to end this episode, because that in the totality of itself is you. And when people make it all the way to the end of this, that is you. That is what I think of with you. So thank you for sharing that, because I knew that that was in your heart.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for just being you. And thank you everyone for listening. And this concludes episode number 2, and all of the links to both books, the special for buying both of them at the same time, all the things. And then we are also going to have a lot of events. If you are in the Erie area, I know that they're having a whole bunch of events because that's where the majority of these authors live. And so if you are anywhere close to that, I will post some of those events as well. So have a lovely time. Thank you.